My psyche dashed. Was this my issue? Had my frantic endeavor to interface with somebody destined her? The figure expanded a hand, its long fingers twisting toward me. "Your turn," I shouted, getting the messed up plate corner from the floor and thrusting at it. The sharp edge cut through the air. Yet the figure broke up into smoke, whirling around me like a living bad dream. The room turned, the air becoming increasingly cold until I could see my breath. The smoke saturated the walls, the floor, the breaks in the roof, letting me be again. Yet the entryway was as yet open. My legs felt like jam, yet I constrained myself to move, staggering toward the entryway. The corridor past was similarly just about as dull and premonition as I'd envisioned, yet it was my main opportunity. I ventured out, the substantial floor unpleasant under my uncovered feet. The passageway extended unendingly in the two headings, lit simply by glimmering bulbs that cast long, threatening shadows. "Anna," I called out, my voice scarcely in excess of a murmur. No response, simply the murmur of the lights and the far-off sound of dribbling water. I turned left, my senses directing me. The lobby appeared to extend on always. Every entryway I passed fixed shut. Some of them had scratches on them, names, count marks, frantic messages, yet not a solitary one of them opened. Then I saw it. An entryway at the finish of the lobby, somewhat unlatched. I drew nearer carefully, every nerve in my body shouting at me to turn around. Yet I proved unable. Not at the present time. Inside was a little room, indistinguishable from mine. Similar substantial walls, a similar glimmering bulb. Be that as it may, this room had something mine didn't. A body. It was a lady, her face pale and dormant, her hands twisted into clenched hands. Scratched into the wall over her was one last message. "Try not to follow the murmurs." Before I could handle how the situation was playing out, the entryway forcefully closed behind me. Once more also, the scratching began. The sound of scratching occupied the room, persistent and chafing. It wasn't coming from the walls this time. It was coming from inside my head. I twirled around, beating on the entryway. "Let me out!" I shouted, my voice reverberating off the virus substantial walls. No reaction. The scratching developed stronger, joined by faint murmurs. They were all over, encompassing me, squeezing into my psyche like frigid fingers. I was unable to make out the words, however, the tone was unquestionable. Deriding, brutal, similar to they partook in my apprehension. I turned around to the body. The lady, Anna, lay still, her face frozen in an appearance of dread. Her hands were as yet grasped, and I saw something. A piece of paper looking out from between her fingers. My hands shook as I pried it free. The paper was fragile, stained with something dim. However, the composing was clear. "It's not the walls you ought to fear. It's what's uninformed." As I read the words, the bulb above me glimmered fiercely prior to breaking, diving the room into completely dark. My breath came in worn-out pants as I mishandled in the murkiness, attempting to track down the walls, the entryway, anything to moor myself. Yet the murmurs developed stronger, closer, folding over me like a stifling cover. Then I felt it, a hand. Cool, hard fingers brushed against my arm, and I yanked away, staggering in reverse. Be that as it may, there was no place to go. The room felt more modest, the air heavier, and the murmurs transformed into giggling, low, throaty, and loaded up with malevolence. "Michael?" the voice from before called, incomprehensibly close. "No!" I yelled, squeezing my options somewhat limited. "You shouldn't have left your cell," it murmured. "You shouldn't have tuned in." "I simply need to return home," I cried, my voice breaking. The giggling halted unexpectedly, supplanted by quietness so complete it felt stunning. Then the entryway squeaked open. Light spilled into the room, and for a short passing second, I assumed I was saved. I staggered toward the entryway, my legs powerless, my body shudder. Yet as I ventured into the foyer, I understood something was off base. The passageway wasn't something very similar. The walls were presently not concrete yet darkened wood, roasted and overflowing with something thick and putrid. The air was weighty with smoke, and the far-off sound of shouting reverberated through the space. "Michael!" the voice called once more, this time from wherever on the double. I turned, however, there was nobody there, just unending, contorting passages that appeared to move and change as I checked them out. "Where am I?" I murmured, more to myself than any other person. "You're where you should be," the voice replied. A figure got out of the shadows in front of me. It was a similar one from previously. Tall, slight, its face clouded. However, presently its layout glimmered, similar to a fire battling contrary to the natural flow. "Why me?" I requested, constraining myself to stand tall in spite of the dread mauling at my inner parts. "What is it that you need?" The figure shifted its head, its shadowed face confused. "You called to her. You ended the quietness. Presently, you're important for it." The murmurs returned, stronger than any time in recent memory, overwhelming my considerations. The lobby started to implode around me, the roasted wood fragmenting and falling away into a void of unending dark. I ran. I didn't have any idea where I was going, yet I was unable to remain. The floor underneath me moved and broke, the shouts becoming stronger, closer, until they were all I could hear. Then, at that point, similarly as out of nowhere as it had begun, it halted. I wound up back in my phone, the substantial walls and glimmering bulb precisely as they had been previously. However, something was unique. The scratches on the wall, the name Anna, were gone. In their place was a solitary word, cut profound into the stone: Michael. I staggered back, my legs giving out underneath me. The room felt colder, emptier, and the murmurs, however weak, were still there, waiting just past the edge of my hearing. I understood then that there was never a way out. Once more the entryway wouldn't open, not so much for me. I was essential for this spot presently, very much like Anna. What's more, sometime in the future, another person would find my name scratched into the wall. Days or perhaps weeks passed. I quit shouting. I quit beating on the entryway. Why bother? The scratches on the wall, presently bearing my name, appeared to taunt me each time I checked them out. The murmurs never left, at times faint, now and again noisy enough to muffle my considerations. Yet they were consistently there. The food plate actually came, slid under the entryway, without a sound. I didn't see the man any longer, simply the plate seeming like a ghost. I ate precisely, my body following up on sense, while my psyche spiraled into more profound depression. However, at that point one evening, something changed once more. I was perched on the floor, gazing at the wall, when the bulb above me glimmered. Not its standard biting the dust beat, but rather quickly, similar to a strobe. The air became colder and the murmurs moved, becoming more clear. This time I could make out the words. "Run, Michael, run." Run? From what? Or on the other hand, to where? The entryway was locked. There was no place to go. "Run!" the murmurs demanded, stronger now, dire. Once more the scratching began, yet this time it wasn't irregular. The sound came from the wall in verse, my name. I turned, and to my shock I saw something unthinkable. A break framing in the substantial, shining faintly with a pale, wiped-out light. I mixed to my feet, my senses shouting at me to remain away. However, the murmurs were resolute. "Run! Run! Run!" I moved toward the break circumspectly, my breath hitching as it augmented before my eyes. The shine increased, spilling into the room like fluid evening glow. Then at that point, with a stunning thunder, the wall disintegrated, uncovering a passage past. The air from the passage was cold and clammy, conveying with it a weak metallic tang. My legs felt like lead, however I constrained them to move, venturing through the rubble and into the unexplored world. The passage was thin, the walls smooth with dampness. The murmurs followed me, directing me forward. However, their tone was currently berserk, practically frantic. Try not to stop. Continue onward. I should be told 2 times. Behind me I heard it, the sound of strides, weighty and purposeful. They were coming. I broke into a run, the passage wandering aimlessly forever. My lungs consumed, My legs shouted for rest. However, I was unable to stop. The strides developed stronger, closer, joined by a low, throaty snarl that caused my hair to stand on end. Ahead, I saw it. A weak reason to have some hope. Opportunity. I propelled myself harder, the snarl behind me transforming into a thunder. I wouldn't even come close to thinking back. The light became more brilliant, blinding, until I burst out of the passage and into another room. I tumbled to my knees, heaving for air, my eyes acclimating to the faint light. The room was indistinguishable from my phone. Substantial walls, a flashing bulb, and a metal entryway. No, this couldn't occur. I crept to the entryway, beating on it with what little strength I had left. "Let me out!" I shouted. The murmurs returned, delicate and taunting. "You can't get away, Michael. Nobody get away." I turned and my blood ran cold. Scratched into the wall, simply over the bed, was another name. You can watch the continuation of the video in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button for more videos. Until next time.